And a very good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Issues and Attitudes. My name is Jeff Owens, director at WEIU TV and Radio. My co-host is Corbin Cox.
Hello.
We're today going to be talking about all things Mattoon. We have the mayor, Mr. Rick Hall, here. Welcome, Rick.
Welcome.
We have the city administrator, Kyle Gill.
Yep.
I'm going to have you pull that mic up to you, Kyle.
Good afternoon.
So appreciate you guys coming in on this Monday as we head into the holiday season. We always like to have you here. Next week we'll have the Charleston city officials here, kind of to recap 2023 with some of the good stuff. So let's leave the mics open for you guys to kind of talk about maybe some of the things you're most proud of as we look back on 2023.
Yeah, I'll start. Kyle always likes to fill in, but keep me honest. But, you know, when we first took office just a couple years ago, we set some objectives, and we feel like, in fact, there were 7 of them, and we've hit on a lot of those since that time, and they're all long-term kind of things. One of the biggest ones, I think probably most people know, is about Emerald Acres, our sports complex, and that primarily was to grow have some economic growth, and it's going to have a huge impact. We certainly started construction right now, and we'll get maybe some more details on that, but it's moving along on schedule. The financing is coming together well, so we're excited about that. Housing improvements is another big one that we feel good about, and that's very, very important. We've done some things with the police department to provide additional support for them. Tourism, we've had a lot of success with our parades and our downtown events and the light works and a lot of that stuff. So all that's going well.
We hired a grant writer as well, and we've been applying for several grants and being successful on some that we weren't successful. We found out
have a
what
safe
we need
and
to do
joyous
holiday
season from your hit music station.
It's great experience for us to do future developments as well. Part of the Emerald Acres and stuff, like you said, we've done the phase 1 bonding, the indoor facilities. You've seen construction out there to putting foundations in and done a lot of the dirt work. So it's a good time. We were waiting for some steel. That the building steel should be coming in January. So hopefully early winter here you'll see some erection coming up out of the ground of the steel, and continue to move those processes along with that is that strip mall that is east of Home Depot. And you've probably people have seen out there that there is foundations going in there as well, and they've kind of got the rock base for the floor and for the parking lot out there, and there is some still out there on that property.
So you're hoping for a kind of an easier winter? So
yeah, a warmer winter would be nice.
Corbin?
Do you have an estimate on maybe when we're looking at an opening date?
So I believe the indoor facility is supposed to be open in the fall of next year, and I think August is the retail. That first retail strip mall would be in the August area.
The outside facility, which is our phase 2 project, they really haven't. They've done a lot of dirt work, and there's a lot of that. But we expect that construction period to be actually shorter than the indoor facility, and it'll take about a year construction on that. So we're pretty much on schedule what we expected. There's a couple of other things that we've done. One of the things that we hadn't done for a long time is review our liquor licenses, and you've already seen some of the impacts of some of that thing. We've got some restaurants and some bars that want to do things outdoors, and we relaxed things, made it easier for them to do that. We have some special ordinances for doing some events kind of things, and that's helped. I think a lot of the communities are doing that, particularly in bigger areas, and we wanted to do the same kind of thing. We got some more work to do there, but
I think it's neat because it seems like live music's kind of making a comeback, and it went away for a while, then COVID hit and even made it worse, but now it seemed to have rebounded, which is great because it's a whole other outlet for young people and older people to experience live music, which and some people think that's the best way to see music or hear music. So that's been really cool. I was talking to the new owners of the Castle, and they want to expand and put an outside a place where they can have bands and stuff outside. So it's all neat stuff when it's progress like that. You also said, Rick, off mic, that there's some factory expansion possibly coming, or
yeah, there's a couple of our factories that are wanting to put more shifts on and more work on. Factors of 3 of our major factories, one of them is increasing automation, but at the same time they're expanding the amount of products they're doing, so they're not really laying anybody off because they're automating. They're simply doing more. Yeah. And they're talking about hiring. We had one industry come in here about a year and a half ago, North American Lighting. They want to add more people. Bimbo Bakery on the west side, they'd like to add another shift, do some more production there, which, by the way, leads us to, I don't know if we want to get into it now necessarily, but labor is always a concern. And you find out that many of these things that we're doing when it comes to economic growth impacts housing and labor. And we've got people that want to move to Mattoon, but in many cases there's no place for them to live. Our housing committee of Mattoon in Motion has really taken off recently. They've done several things. Kyle might say a few things about that.
We've got some interns with Lakeland College, and we're doing a survey through IDA, which surveying all the properties and all the residential properties in Mattoon, and we're about 80% complete on that. So. And I don't remember the number, but say there was 9,000 parcels in Mattoon. We've got 80% of them that they've gone door to door, looked at them, rated them, whether they're in good condition, fair condition, or poor condition. And we'll be able to put that on a GIS map and hit hot spots of where we need to focus on some tear downs or code compliance or possible areas for redevelopment. So we're going to use that information, and it's going to be very helpful. And then we've also talked about working with other groups to see what about new subdivisions in town. You know, what can we do? How can we bring the cost down to where lots can be reasonable for people to be able to build houses?
Are there developers that want to build new homes in subdivisions, or is it something you have to go out and search for? I mean, because the last one was was out there on the east side, right? In terms of brand new subdivision, that was been
I mean, the late 90s is when most of the subdivisions were going on, and so. No, there is people that are interested, but again, it's finding that point to be able to be cost effective. And right now, by the time you put in the streets, the water and sewer, and then the construction costs of the houses, it's just getting to be where they're selling lots too high that people are not wanting to buy. So weighing that with also, how do you redevelop it in town where you already have roads and streets? Maybe you do new sidewalks, new curbs, stuff like that to entice people to be in town.
Makes sense. Corbin?
Just to backtrack a little bit, when you were talking about labor, how has employment been for Mattoon in the last year? Have you seen like an increase in available jobs, increase in applicants, anything like that?
I received some data fairly recently about various segments of our businesses in our area, and of course our unemployment rate. We almost wish it was higher so we could put some of those people back. It is pretty low, and we're finding out where in the state of Illinois, where a lot of industries are not hiring, we are. That's kind of an unusual thing. Illinois doesn't have the best reputation for businesses, and but we're seeing a lot of hiring in the area of manufacturing. Part of that is, I think, the great job that Lakeland College, Eastern, Lyft is doing with the schools. They're actually not creating jobs, but training people so they're ready when they get out of college to go to work. And some right out of high school, and they're doing a great job of that. That helps fill jobs around here.
And, because when you labor and housing being a need, because if we have all this, great progress, obviously there's a lot of good jobs out there to be had, and just finding a place for them to live. But the other thing is, I know you want them to live in Mattoon, but do you work with folks with other communities as well to try to see if because if something's going to benefit Mattoon, Charleston's going to benefit, and vice versa. Yeah,
and we do that. I mean, not only housing, but, economic development. Anything that's built around here is good for Mattoon. If Charleston got another big factory or anything like that, people travel everywhere to go to work. I mean, when GE was here, how many people did you know that lived in Neoga and Strasburg, and so anything in the area is definitely good. So we do help each other out and promote each other.
one of the things people always know, I want us to ask when you all come in is, new businesses and new things that maybe people haven't heard about recently. I know you said there's the defense thing out there that's coming. Is there any other rumors of stuff that's coming or anything that we know is coming down the pipeline for Mattoon?
Well, of course, John Deere moved into most of the space. In fact, virtually all related to John Deere out there where Donley's was at, and that's 1 million square foot. We don't have a lot of empty buildings, but let's see, as far as new things coming, other than growth right now, and the property right around the sports complex, that's going to generate, and we've got 15 names of businesses that are going to be coming, to our area. They're not necessarily manufacturing, but they're not just restaurants and bars. Some of them are retail, some of them are service related, a few professional. So that's not bad at all, really. That's all good growth, and we're going to see more employment opportunities.
Rural King out in front of the mall has got another lot, say just across the entrance from Dunkin' Donuts, where there's going to be another building service building there. So yeah, we've got some good stuff around town. People looking. Again, a lot of them are speculating on the sports complex. They're kind of waiting and seeing for sure that it's up and going before.
I think maybe when the steel starts getting up, people see it more a little bit. But also, there's going to be more people in town, a year from now, and then 2 years from now. But again, so
Jeff, I see people that are getting ready for the sports complex. There's people like Villa Pizza, for example. They're moving into a new facility, and I know it's been slow, but when the sports complex is here and they get opened in a new location, they're going to be overwhelmed with the number of new people coming, and we see it in the bars that are coming, and a lot of these people that are looking now or looking for property or expanding, they're getting ready. We've got a number of not just factories, but others that are service stations and places like that are expanding their operations so that they're ready for that traffic that is yet to come. Because that doesn't happen overnight either, by the way.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So other than Emerald Acres, what is maybe something else that people in Mattoon can look forward to in the new year?
Well, like I said, that Defense Depot west of town, which is an indoor shooting range. They'll sell guns as well, and then have training for concealed carry and stuff like that. There is another business, like I said, I was talking out in front of the mall that really hasn't said much, but it's kind of like a oil change place. Just some new businesses coming in front of the town that will be good.
Well, new activities, you say, about things that people are interested in. We just installed 6 pickleball courts at Peterson Park. We've got kayaks that we put in at Lake Mattoon and the docks and rental. We've got new paths at Lake Paradise for people to go out there that want to enjoy that. We're certainly going to be promoting biking more. We've got that one segment done from the older sports complex, the Roundhouse complex, that goes down to the train station, but you can ride from Charleston all the way to Lake Paradise and not necessarily get on real busy roads today. Now the real bike paths that we haven't really built new paths to Lake Paradise, but there is. You can go off of Western Avenue on Dole Road and get right to the West Paradise road out there, and that's things that attract people. And they got the new paths out there. There's things going on out there.
What about Lake Paradise? I know at the end of summer the levels were real low. Is that evened out at all, or what's the situation?
It's starting to come up a little bit. We do need some rain, and then, like you said, we've got some pump issues that we're working on and hope to have that taken care of shortly. But it's been a very dry summer, very dry fall. We were hoping the September rains would fill the lake back up. Well, we didn't get much rain, so. It's been working with Mother Nature there.
And the other thing that affected the water is Dave Basham, 41-year city employee. Somebody said it's the longest tenured employee. I don't know if that's true, but when you lose somebody like that, and I'm not saying that because he's my brother-in-law, but I mean that's a tough one to not just replace, but when you just relied on somebody for 41 years. Yeah. So, is there other things like that in terms of job openings and things that are happening in Mattoon?
Yeah, Dean Barber, our public works director, is going to be leaving at the end of the year. He's going to enjoy some retirement time, and like I said, Dave Basham. So We're actively interviewing people for those positions, and in the next few years we'll see quite a bit. We've got an aging workforce that, congratulations on them, but in the next 5 years they're going to have several at the age where they can retire and enjoy life. So that'll be some new blood coming into
some new strapping lads to do the heavy work.
That's right. And then, like I said, 41 years with Dave Basham, that's a long time. I mean, the only other one I can think that would be like that would have been Raymond Sentney, who would do two different departments, police department and plumbing inspector. But
the Mattoon Police Department just got a new drone. I know drones kind of are one of those, everybody loves them, but then when the police department get them, maybe people are a little bit worried. So explain to maybe what that's going to, I know you're completely under you, but what that's going to be used for.
So, I mean, several different things. I mean, we've used them for looking at nuisance properties. We've looked them at being able to get up onto our water towers to see if one of the antennas are messed up or misplaced. Again, we've had water leaks. There's an infrared, so we can get up in the air. If there's a water main break out in the winter, you can see a warm spot where the water's coming up out of the ground. There's multiple uses for them. But then again, I mean, if someone walks away from a nursing home's missing, again, that's one way to look out in fields or other areas. So.
Well, let's face it, it's not just people from nursing homes. Kids disappear, or someone even in a wooded area, and we have those around, where you can get something up high.
A lost hunter at this point, right?
There could be, sometimes just getting on top of a fire, close to a fire, that you'd like to see what's going on the roof. You can get the drones up there. You might see them above some of the parades. They're using crowd control. They, I think, provide, we've got 4 trained officers, I think, on how to operate those drones very well. And I think they're a tool that, and there are a lot of tools that the police department can use, but they're one that's going to really help the public, I think.
That's cool. Did you guys do a retreat or a training seminar to try to get ready for the next, calendar year or maybe your fiscal year, whatever it is? Do you guys do anything like that for city employees and the leadership group up at Mattoon?
So not as much as, say, what City of Charleston does, but we do try to get together and to discuss, and that's what Rick was leading to when they first came in. Where does this council want us to go for the next 4 years? So we kind of work on that, and we just kind of review that a little bit. But then we'll be working on budgets, and in every year it changes. So someone says, well, hey, we also want to do this project. Can we make it work? And, maybe take one project out, put a different one in that we see as maybe more of a necessity. So
we have a comprehensive plan that is a longer-term plan other than the 4-year one when we first started 2.5 years ago. And we're looking at those and modifying those, and we've done that. We had 2 new council members that came on this last time, and they needed to get up to speed and understand. There's a lot of moving parts, a lot of new laws, and we're going to be seeing some new ones coming down, in just actually
January 1st, right?
January 1st, or several of them. So, getting ready for those and being able to fund those is sometimes difficult.
Okay. Corbin?
Beyond just with your team, how do you personally prepare yourself to enter another year with all the stress and preparation that comes with that?
You get used to it. You just work on what you can, try to prioritize, and be flexible, because there's always things that I wanted to do that it comes in and commissioners come in and say, no, we want to do this, and so you just change your focus and discuss what is the priorities and how we're going to fund it. And it's usually those are the things that are going to determine what you can and can't do.
Yeah, money kind of runs everything, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, Kyle is the one that day to day handles a lot of issues, just because technically all the department heads report through him, along with going to their commissioner. But so he's putting out a lot of fires. Doesn't have as much time as I know he'd like to spend on strategic planning and longer term things. but we still were able to get a lot more of those done this year or this time, I think, than we have in a long time. We've hit on some big items over this last couple of years. Myself, there are people that only want to talk to the mayor. They feel like the mayor can solve everything, but
and you can't.
Yeah, no, no, I can get a hold of someone that can.
Very good thing.
Yeah, but they do, and a lot of times they just want to. They want to talk about it. They want to make sure that someone's concerned, knows about things, and that's part of my role. But I'm heavily involved with the Illinois Municipal League and trying to help the longer-term objectives of the city and what laws are going to be changing and what impact it's going to have on us.
When someone comes into your office and asks you for something, do you have like how do you give them the advice that they want to hear without like setting new policy or breaking a policy? Is there a certain tact you have to have? How's that work?
The way I do it is I just tell them the truth. If there's things that we can't do because we've got ordinance against them, or maybe they don't understand the ramifications of doing something, a lot of people want something done just for them, but nobody else.
Really?
And you can't do that. Yeah. But people come in, they've got some good ideas, and some of them result in changes in ordinances or things like that do improve long term. But we've got a lot of committees, remember, at the city working on that are not elected officials, and in fact are the spokesmen for the citizens, because that's what they're made up of. They're not elected. They volunteer time to listen to people and then bring it to the council.
Interesting. I heard there's going to be some new lights coming to Mattoon and some things that are going to happen downtown, at least specifically. Can you talk about that?
So we had some new lighting on top of the buildings in the 1700 block of Broadway. This was the first step. We want to continue that on as we do streetscaping to the east, and then eventually go down on Western Avenue there in front of DeBurr's and Villa as well. But yeah, it's kind of like a skylight lighting on top of the buildings, and of course they can change colors. They can go in and out, sparkle, twinkle, whatever you want to do.
But on the poles themselves, we put in new light poles, and on that last 2 blocks, that's where all the big snowflakes are hanging now on those poles, because those are now wired with electricity. We never had that before. So people can actually put up different kinds of lights on those. Banners and things like that can be lit, or things like that. So that's all new. And the park downtown has a lot of new lighting, so that's going well, and more things going on there.
Okay, we have about 6 minutes left. We're talking to Mattoon's Rick Hall and Kyle Gill today from Mattoon City Administration. Other things that you would like to see done in 2024 that in terms of street work or major projects that maybe the people need to know about before the new year gets here?
I have one that is part of our planning for this 4-year period, and that's a review of the form of government that we have. Today we have a commissioned form of government, which is almost unheard of today in the state of Illinois, except for very small communities. We're one of those communities that still has that. We can get it on a ballot to change that. It actually makes it a lot more efficient. It doesn't result in replacing every commissioner and mayor at the same time. There are some advantages of changing to a managerial form of government like Charleston has, and that would be something that I would like to see on the ballot in November of next year. And that takes some time. You got to tell people what's going on and why you really want to do it. But
and we may need more time for that than we have now. But so Kyle, you're a city administrator. So in another form, there would be a city manager.
Yeah.
To a layperson like me and Corbin, can you explain maybe the difference of what that means?
Well, so like a city manager does have a little bit more abilities than what I do. So, in the hiring and firing, I got to go to the council members and talk to them all and get a consensus, where the manager usually doesn't have to do that. He has the ability to do the hiring and firing. Right? Makes things easier, quicker. And then the council really becomes more of a policy maker of, hey, we're looking at the big picture in a manager form of government, and the manager is taking their big picture and running with it and implementing it, instead of each department or each commissioner trying to run a department. What would
be the pushback then? So I'm not playing devil's advocate. I'm not trying to be yay or nay on you, but what would be the pushback for somebody?
Well, I mean, it's always either way is good or bad depending on who you have in the office, right? In that position. So that's really the pushback.
All right. Corbin, anything?
We've been doing a lot of looking ahead with what we've talked about, but to look back on 2023, maybe what is one unique challenge that you've faced during the year?
Good
Oh,
question,
wow.
Corbin.
A unique challenge that we had in this past year.
To me, it's an easy one.
Yeah.
23 was the year that we made. It was 22 that we started looking at the sports complex, but it was 23 is the year we solved so many problems that came up that we couldn't envision before. There was funding, there was construction costs, there was, who's going to do it? Are we going to be able to get retailers to come? Are we, there's just a ton of things that came up that we didn't necessarily think of that we had to solve, and we did it. And that, to me, how we work together, because it's certainly not a one-person kind of deal. It's everybody. It's the city department heads and all those, but it's people outside our control. It's other taxing bodies. It's, it's consultants. It's attorneys. It's bonds people. All of those people had to get together, and that was half of the time that I spent in mayor was doing that.
Work at that.
So
you think, Kyle?
I would agree. I mean, it was, we were on phone calls where we'd have 12 different people on a phone call, and you didn't even know who was talking because there were so many people on the call.
They got this thing called Zoom. You can see them now.
Yeah. We did that too.
Yeah. What about the next city council meeting coming up December 19th? Anything major on that agenda, or is it a pretty simple one since it's the end of the year?
It's fairly simple because it's the end of the year. There's some things that we're trying to do for the laws, the part-time employee paid leave act. We're trying to put something on there for that.
Is there a rule like somebody they get 1 hour, or what's that?
Yeah, it's 1 hour for every hour, or for every 40 hours worked.
They get vacation or a day off, or no?
Paid leave off.
Okay.
So you can do it as vacation or however you want to do it. Yeah.
It seems like a strange rule, and somebody has to keep track of that. I mean, I would not want to be that, we'll probably have to do that here, but who knows?
Yeah.
It just seems very strange. Or would you agree?
I agree. It's just another kind of a mandated thing that you weren't planning for. That
State of Illinois.
Yeah.
That's all I understand. So about a minute and a half left. Anything else that you'd like to talk about before we get out of here on this Monday?
To me, these last couple of years, and I think this next year are going to be some of the most exciting years for the city of Mattoon. We've got people all over the state of Illinois talking about what Mattoon's getting done, and I talk to those people, other mayors, Decatur, Springfield, Aurora. There's a lot of other communities that I meet with, in particular. Some of the events that I go to, they said, "Gosh, how'd you guys get that done?" Well, they can't comprehend even hardly, and they're saying, and there's a lot of them around this area. They say, "Boy, I wish we would have done that." I think it's going to be an exciting next couple of years for City of Mattoon, and I think the citizens are going to really see that when that complex grows up.
You want to add to that, Kyle, real quick?
No, it's the same thing. It's good buzz going around for Mattoon and the community, and we just need to continue to keep that going.
There you go. I want to cheat for a minute and get in and talk about something else.
Okay.
It is Bailey Annan's last day. She is in the other room. She does all of our TV side. For those who watch today on TV on your 13 or WEIU television, she is graduating this Saturday from Eastern Illinois University, and she's done a wonderful job for me and Corbin, and maybe even the person before Corbin in terms of running everything, so we can just talk stuff in this room. So I appreciate you guys giving me 30 seconds to say thank you to Bailey. So she's a great kid.
Do that. Is she coming in?
Congratulations.
She'll stay in there and probably cry.
Okay.
We are WEIU. Thanks, guys.